Hey, hello, this is Jonathan Bennett, and today we're going to do a quick demo of the new WebRTC streaming and ONVIF motion detection that we've built into Zoneminder. Keep in mind, both of these features are experimental, and the code is still under active development, so what you see here may go stale very quickly. With that said, let's get started. First off, I've prepared an Ubuntu 21.10 box, and then we follow the installation guide for Ubuntu on the Zoneminder documentation the easy way. Except we're using the Zoneminder-master PPA to get what is essentially a development snapshot. So we have a Zoneminder 1.37.11 build installed and all ready to go. We're going to start out by adding a camera the conventional way, and then we're going to make it better. All right, so here we go. Obviously, of course, just as usual, we're going to leave it FFmpeg. We're going to do MoChord, all of those things, and then we just need to paste in our source path, and we should be good to go. Of course, we have to tell it exactly what the camera setup is. Easy to forget. All right, and let's see. We should have... And after a restart of Zoneminder, there we go. My lovely, messy office. Hi there. All right, and so you can see some interesting things. One of the big ones is the load on this poor little VM is off the charts. Super high. Over 4. Not good. If we come over here and check out one of the top programs, you can see that ZMC is just running quite a bit, and of course ZMC is the main camera capture process. So what is there to be done for this? Well, we can talk about the new Janus integration that we've put together. And so one of the first things we have to do is we have to go in here to the options and find the Janus options. They are here on the system tab. Of course, there's a lot on the system tab now, so finding it, probably easier to just search Janus secret and Janus path. The Janus secret, we're going to set this ourselves, so it can be any old thing. And of course, that's got to match exactly, so we'll copy that. Janus path. There's a bug right now, so that this has to be set. Once that bug gets ironed out and there is another release, you can leave this blank. But for now, for the purposes of this, we're going to set it to 127.0.0.1 8088/Janus. Don't forget, when you are setting your URL here, it does need the http:// because we don't want to accidentally use a relative link. So anyway, save. And now, of course, because we have this set to localhost, this will only work from localhost. If you want it accessible on the outside to the rest of your network, then go and find out what the IP address is of the machine that you're running Zoneminder on and use that there. All right, we will save. Then we actually need to go and install Janus, and there are 2 packages that we want. Of course, the first one is Janus, and the other one is libjs.janus. And under Ubuntu, what this does is it exposes the janus.js JavaScript library on the system. And of course, we need that, and yeah, that's what that's about. Do the install. And there we go. Now, let's make sure that we do indeed have that package available. All right, JavaScript/Janus/Janus.js, and there we are. We do have their JavaScript. So that is working. That is good. We need to make a couple of configuration changes to Janus. That is in etc/Janus Janus, and we're going to start first with the janus.jcfg file. Not a whole lot to change in here, but we do want to check on a couple of things. First off, this admin secret, this can go away for now. And then the other thing is under NAT, I have had problems with MDNS. Some of the more modern browsers will block this on local networks, and we're doing a lot of local network things here. So we uncomment this line, telling it to ignore MDNS. True. Basically, we don't need MDNS right now, so we're going to disable it. If you run into problems, you might go back and twiddle this line and see it may help. But for my setup, I've had to have this line uncommented, MDNS disabled to make things work. And then we're going to move on to the next, which is janus.plugin.streaming.jcfg. And the thing that we want to do here is under General, we need the admin key set, but we want to set this not to super secret, not to a pre-populated key. That's a bad idea if you're going to put this out on the internet somewhere. We will use our any old thing key, which again, don't use that exactly. Go generate a 16-character random password. You can change your RTB port range, and again, if you're going to have a firewall between you and the machine, I would do something like 21,000 to 22,000 and just open those UDP ports. But for this demo, doesn't matter. And then the other thing we're going to do is all of these sample configs, they're just going to go away. Away, we don't want any of these. All right, again, save quit, and that should be the only changes we need here. And we want to now start Janus. Enable it and then start it, of course. All right, that should get Janus running for us. Let's talk for just a second about how you need the camera set up too, because a lot of these do have options that do make a difference down in their video settings, the video format. H.264, H.265 is only supported by one browser, and even then it's kind of a half-baked implementation. So unless you're using Safari on a Mac, there is no H.265 WebRTC support. So keep it with H.264. H.264 Plus needs to be off on this camera. Some cameras will have something called H.264B. That means baseline. That is what you want. Baseline is the one that, to truly use WebRTC, every browser has to support the baseline codec. Unfortunately, we don't have, on this particular camera, this TrendNet, we can't tell it, hey, use baseline. It's just not one of the options. All right. Now we can come back over here to Zoneminder, go to the console, and we're going to edit the camera. And we're going to enable Janus Livestream. This particular camera does not support audio, so we're not going to enable this. And I would also, even if your camera does support audio, start without the audio enabled. Browsers are particularly fiddly when it comes to H.264. And if the video is supported but the audio is not, and you turn audio on, it'll break everything. It's wonderful to work with. So leave this disabled, and then if you have the camera that supports audio, try it after that. Anyway, onward and forward. So we have the camera set up, and yeah, that is the only thing we need to do for now. Janus Livestream is enabled. We're going to hit save, and then if we take a look, all right, in the end I had to do a restart on both Janus and Zoneminder, but everything finally in the correct place, all of the configs actually active, and here we go. We have an H.264 WebRTC live view of the camera, and let's now talk about what else you can do, because we're not done yet. We can now go and edit this, and I think a lot of people want to be able to use Zoneminder with the live view, but also motion detection and the ability to record when there's motion. All right, that's fine. We can do that, and we can also do it now without doing any JPEG decoding. So we're going to change this to no dect, which means it's going to be event-based only, and that's fine because over here in ONVIF, we have the ONVIF event listener. And so we're going to need to set this up, and this is going to be kind of per camera. And I happen to know that on this camera, the ONVIF endpoint is just /ONVIF, so that's going to look like this. It's going to use the same username and password. Admin and capital P password is just what I'm using on this camera. Yeah, there we go. So we can hit save, and then we can go back in and we can do one more thing. Under storage, we can say we don't want to save JPEGs. We want to do the camera pass-through for the video writer. And this gives us the on the actual storage of the stream. Now it does not need to do decoding. We can make one more change with this camera, and that is we don't need to do analysis and we don't need to do decoding at all. We're using Janus for the live stream, and then we are also using ONVIF for the motion detection. So we don't have to do any decoding at all. Hit that, it's going to remove it, re-add it. Give it a second for that to get added back to Janus. There we go, we're still there. Then we come over here and look at top. ZMC is now way down here with 0.3 usage. We have absolutely reduced our load, and of course this number will go down and down because it's a rolling average. On the camera itself, on this particular camera, there are some settings under Advanced, under Event, Motion Detection. Make sure Motion Detection is enabled, and then the linkage, we don't want to do an email or an upload. We do want to do Notify Surveillance Center. That is what these TrendNet cameras refer to the ONVIF as. Make sure that is enabled, and then I think it's because we are inside of a virtual machine here. This camera, the web interface, it is not populating this. Normally what you get is this actually shows a picture of what the camera sees, and you can then draw in where you want the motion detection to work. You can see I've got a little tiny spot drawn in there, and that's for being able to flap my arms above my head while I'm sitting here and make things come up and do a capture event. I think now that everything's working correctly, you'll see we can go back to Firefox, pull it up and look at the camera, and yes, it actually works in Firefox too. This particular camera does. You'll find that not every camera likes every browser, and that is something that we're continuing to work on to try to get that better, but it's just one of the facts of life. Doing live video is hard. So there you go. A quick overview of what the WebRTC plus ONVIF support in Zoneminder looks like right now. Thanks so much.